On April 20th, rapper POOH SHIESty has now been officially sentenced to prison. As reported by DJ Academics, he stated, "Breaking, POOH SHIESty sentenced to 63 months in prison. He was facing 8 years. Academics then added that he should be free sometime in 2026 approximately. POOH SHIESty was looking at 8 years inside of federal prison until he created a proffer deal with law enforcement. As mentioned by Whack 100 and DJ Academics, POOH SHIESty used what's called a proffer. A proffer is when the criminal proves additional detailed information to the feds relating to the offense, for which immunity, or in this case a lesser sentence, is then granted. SHIESty used this proffer of 8 years inside of prison dropped in exchange for a 5-year sentence. But we're now seeing rappers call out SHIESty for working with the feds, giving them information on the case and on those involved. Once the proffer deal was announced in court, we saw footage of POOH SHIESty. We saw SHIESty enter the courtroom wearing what's called a turtle suit. So typically while you're in jail, if you're having a hard time saying things about your own life, even crying, things in that nature, law enforcement will actually take all of your clothing. They will then give you this suit to wear instead, as you can't do any harm to yourself with this suit, as you probably could with clothing. It's a very sensitive subject. But while in the courtroom, the judge detailed on why POOH SHIESty was really arrested. So POOH SHIESty set up an armed robbery via Instagram DMs. Now SHIESty knew it was his last day in Miami, Florida. So on Instagram, SHIESty set up a meetup with a reseller on Instagram for high-end sneakers as well as narcotics. As detailed in the court files, this was going to be a 5-figure deal. So around $10,000 to $15,000 is the court's estimate. Now SHIESty revealed all of this in his proffer agreement that he created with the judge in his case. POOH SHIESty rented a green McLaren for the day. As you see, SHIESty arrived to the parking lot driving it. Now, awaiting for the two men's arrival, POOH SHIESty and his boy create a plan for an armed robbery against these two men, or that's what law enforcement believed happened, as SHIESty revealed that it was never supposed to go down this way, but instead, SHIESty was supposed to pay for these goods as he's a multi-millionaire rapper. But once they arrive, they then place all of the goods on the trunk of the seller's vehicle. With SHIESty doing a legit check on the pair of sneakers, sources believe that this gave SHIESty's boy enough time to get into position for everything to go down. While negotiating on the price for these goods, a small argument then started. This then began getting into a heated argument where POOH SHIESty was then seen grabbing a firearm out of his waistband. This is when you see the two men start sprinting away and ducking for cover behind their own vehicle, but they weren't quick enough, as SHIESty ended up hitting both of them, hitting one in the backside and the other one in the hip. While POOH SHIESty was handling the two men, SHIESty's boy was in charge of grabbing the sneakers and narcotics off of the trunk of the vehicle. He then grabs the goods and starts sprinting to the side of the McLaren. Meanwhile, POOH SHIESty makes sure that his job is done before sprinting to the driver's side of the car. With POOH SHIESty opening up his McLaren doors, the vehicle had butterfly doors, meaning that the car doors go upwards. With the car doors going up, there was a Louis Vuitton bag in the side door pocket. This bag then fell onto the pavement of the parking lot. Without SHIESty even realizing, he quickly shut the door of his vehicle and began driving away. Now this Louis Vuitton bag had $40,912 in cash. It played a huge role in the evidence against SHIESty, but more on that later. So with POOH SHIESty driving away from the scene, he ends up going to the nearest Miami airport, where he rents a private jet and flew right out of Miami, Florida. Now the moment that POOH SHIESty did this armed robbery, he made several mistakes as detailed by the judge. Now the first mistake, he just committed an armed robbery beside a police station. So the video surveillance you see here on screen is actually recorded from a police station. Once the sound of firearms in the area were heard, several police cars arrived to the parking lot. With law enforcement already knowing the exact location of this robbery, it didn't take long for them to look through the recording tapes. Also, with the police arriving to the scene as fast as they did, they are the ones who retrieved the Louis Vuitton bag, as POOH SHIESty had zero time to go back to the parking lot and retrieve his bag of money. So the feds already had an idea of who committed this armed robbery, as POOH SHIESty literally posted a selfie of him with the green McLaren the same day he did an armed robbery in it. Now yes, you heard me right. On POOH Shiesty's Instagram, posted several photos of him flexing the all-green McLaren just hours after the armed robbery. Obviously not the smartest idea by POOH Shiesty, but here's where it gets interesting, as his Instagram not only provided that evidence, but it also provided the evidence which really claimed it was Shiesty who did this. Now, the Louis Vuitton bag, holding $40,000 in cash, the feds were able to obviously go through that money and anything else that was in the bag. Well, while they were on POOH Shiesty's Instagram, seeing the photo of him flexing the McLaren, they also downloaded a few photos of him doing his famous stretching money across his body thing. Now the feds, with these downloaded photos, were able to zoom in on them very easily, and they noticed that the serial number on one of the bills in the photo ended up matching one of the bills that was found inside of the Louis Vuitton bag. So with very crafty police work, POOH Shiesty was obviously then arrested, but before he was arrested, he once again made another massive mistake. While he was still sorta not really on the run, but not arrested, rapper POOH Shiesty was performing at the King of Diamonds club. Now the arrest record states that Shiesty was performing for a fairly large crowd. During his performance, Shiesty was seen once again having $40,000 cash sitting in his skinny jeans back pocket. According to the official arrest warrant, POOH Shiesty was performing at the club when a group of people in the front row noticed that Shiesty had a bundle of money in his back pocket and noticed it was very loose in his pockets. With Shiesty jumping around and getting closer to the front row, this group of people then started swatting at the stack of money in his back pocket. Eventually, they were able to knock the entire stack out. With $40,000 worth of cash landing onto the club's floor, everybody in the crowd started swarming it, trying to grab as much money as possible before quickly running out of the club. With everyone in the crowd trying to get the money, Shiesty was also trying to move people out of the way so he can grab his cash, but he was unsuccessful. With everybody sprinting out of the club, Shiesty then ran right after them. Somebody that was recording the concert in the back row then recorded Shiesty exiting the club, but while doing so, pulling out once again a firearm out of his waistband. With the recording still going on, out of nowhere, all you then hear is a firearm being used outside of the club. The remaining people inside start going crazy, ducking for cover, going into the bathrooms and locking the door. Nobody knew what was going on. Witnesses then claim that Shiesty was seen using a firearm against a security guard who works at the club. Allegedly, there was some sort of small argument between Shiesty and the security guard. Shiesty asking, "How could you let all of these guys run out of the club with my money?" and getting very angry. So it only kind of makes sense that Shiesty may have used a firearm. Now the interesting thing of this all is this same security guard then put out a statement that he is no longer pressing charges against the Memphis rapper, as allegedly paramedics that arrived to the scene gave the security guard some sort of medication to help deal with the pain. Well, this medication ended up giving him memory loss, so he no longer remembers if it was Shiesty who did this to him, so he doesn't want to sentence a young rapper to life in prison. It's a very interesting story, but it almost makes you wonder, how much did Gucci Mane and Shiesty pay this security guard? Now if you know, let me know down below in the comments. Anyways, I'm out.